there a certain element or two you think you can point to and say that's the reason we run the ball as well as we have, or is it a mentality thing?
I think it's a couple things. It starts with the attitude, the mentality, and that's the first thing. You have to want to run the football, and you have to take pride in running the football. And it's taken us some time. You know, I think the second thing is Coach Uremovich and our strength coaches have done a nice job developing strength and technique. And I think those are two critical things on the offensive line. You have to be extremely strong. You have to be a bender. You know, you got to be mentally tough, but you have to be so technically sound at that position. And I think Mike's done a great job working with those kids, and so is the strength staff, getting them to where they need to be. And we're nowhere near. We're young still, you know, across, other than the seniors, the rest of them are pups. So, but there's just been great strides made there. You know, I think they've bought into what we want to be. You know, we do want to be an aggressive defense that plays good special teams. We can run the ball. We want to be able to throw the ball and score. It's really a, you know, run to win, throw to score mentality with our offense, and we're not there yet, but we're getting better at it.
Will Richardson do to make that jump you mentioned earlier?
Well, he had a great summer in the weight room. He got a lot stronger. That was the first thing. He's been hurt, not majorly, but you know, he's had nicks that have kind of popped him out of the training cycle throughout his time here. It's like every 4 weeks he'd have a sprained knee or a sprained ankle, or he'd get mono, or he'd have a pink eye. I mean, it was crazy. And he just couldn't. You need an 8-week window where you can train to maximize your growth. I mean, that's kind of how we do things. It's 8 weeks, and then you kind of change what you're doing. And he never really got one of those until this summer. And so the summer helped him. I think he matured a lot. The redshirt year helped him. And Will's got a really good passion and visible energy about playing football. He loves to play football. And that's something our offensive line, I think, needed. You know, just brings a little bit of, I don't know, enthusiasm to the huddle that's contagious. And he finishes. And he's nowhere near perfect, and he's got a lot to work on, but when he's in there, you can feel it. And that is one thing I think we needed. And you know, to his credit, he worked really hard the first week to get himself in the conversation.
With Jacoby, was there anything in particular that you wanted him to shore up in that lull kind of in the middle of the season? But the way that he finished, obviously, I'm sure you were pleased with, but I don't know if there was an aspect that you thought needed to be specifically addressed.
You know, I think what we needed him to fix during the season, you saw kind of get fixed as the season went on. I think some of that was not as much him as it was being a first-year starter for anybody. He made mistakes. He learned from your mistakes. He also played 3 of the best defenses in our conference in 1 month, so that had a little bit to do with it. But you know, he overstrided at times in his drop, which would get him off balance, and then he would struggle setting his feet. You know, pass rush in his face on some of his plays. That was something he worked really hard on this spring. It helped him. His accuracy down the field's been tremendous in fall camp, and that was the one thing that we challenged him to do this summer, and we've seen really, really good results so far. Last year, I think he would let things he couldn't control get to him. You know, other players, how they were playing or not playing, or injuries, the guys are in and out, and I think sometimes the things that are out of his control, because he's so competitive and he wants to do so well, would get in his head. And now he's just focused on what he controls, I think, and that's helped him a lot. You see him, I mean, if a guy drops the ball, it doesn't bother him. And, you know, obviously he wants him to catch it, but he put the ball where he was supposed to put it, he read it right, he did his job. And now he's got to go to the next play, and I think that's been really good. Not that we're dropping a lot of balls, we've been better that way, but you can see him just handling adversity that he didn't create better. You know, and I think that's important at quarterback, because you really got to be able to focus on the things that you can control.
Dave, Nielsen seems to coach with a lot of enthusiasm. He's high on instructing. Is that the type of thing you look for when hiring an assistant, and how happy are you with the job he's doing since coming
Yeah.
to state?
Well, I think D-line is a different animal. All the coaches need to be good teachers. I mean, that's the first thing you need to be as a coach. And they're all going to motivate differently. I mean, they're all wired a little different, and that's okay. Bottom line is you have to get the most out of the guys in your room. You have to create a positive environment for them to want to be in there and learn from you. You've got to motivate them and make them know that you care. And I think he does all those things, but he gets a lot out of them. And he's hard on them. He pushes them. He gives great discipline, but he also gives a lot of positive encouragement to the guys. And I think he takes all of their actions very personal, and that's what you want in a coach. He does a nice job with all those things.
How close is Pharaoh to being the kind of all-down guy that you would feel comfortable putting in there in non-pass rushing situations?
Well, he plays now in non-pass rushing situations. He's just still continuing to learn how to be that every down attitude type guy, you know. And Pharaoh's competitive. He's coachable. He's just, you got to remember that he was playing quarterback and receiver, 2 years ago. So it's a mindset. The D-line's just different. I mean, your motor's got to run hot all the time to get in that spot. It's getting there, but it's not there yet.
Coach, you touched on it a little bit earlier, but coming into this time last year, NBA obviously was looking at being a solid contributor on the team, then he had an injury.
Right.
Just where is he at mentally and physically, and just how do you think he can bounce back and contribute this year?
Well, mentally, he knows our scheme extremely well. I mean, he's played Will and Mike, so he knows both sides of the formations for us. He's very focused and really a professional when it comes to how he handles himself. I think the first 3 days, anytime you're coming off an ACL or an Achilles, a leg injury of that magnitude, there's a mental block that you got to get through, even though the doctor's telling you you're good. He's going to have a series of firsts on that knee. First time he gets cut. First time he takes on a block and somebody hits him in the knee. He's got to get through all those things to know that, man, this thing's okay. And so far, so good, So we'll just keep going through it. It takes a little time. And even though he'll feel like he's ready in game one, he'll still need to go out there and hit somebody and get up and say, my knee's good. I just think that's part of the recovery process. And he's where we thought he would be at this point.
Coach, what's kind of the philosophy behind moving Contagious from the edge to the interior? How do you think he's going to do his first full year on the interior side?
Well, we lost some great production inside, and he's one of the few players that can play both. He's fast enough to be an end and strong and big enough to be a tackle. And we just felt like he would create some mismatches inside and be a disruptive force in there. We hope he is. That's why we did it. And we also felt good about what we had coming back at end, and we wouldn't have made the move. So those are the reasons.
I'm sure you're losing sleep over this, but Fox Sports recently said you had the worst non-conference schedule in the country. I don't know if you saw that or not, but is it really that bad?
There's a lot of things said in the preseason that some of them may come out to be true, some of them may not. So, I don't know. We'll see if they're really good at that. I guess later on.
Is it fair to look at just the one part of the schedule and not judge the whole thing?
Well, I don't think it is. I mean, I still think we play in the toughest side of a conference than anybody right now. And that's part of what goes into setting up the other part of our schedule. Part of it's what we inherited, as everybody knows. And it is what it is that way. But, we're going to play some really, really good conference teams. And when you're playing with 70% of your team as young as we are, I think we did the right thing. And so building the team is the most important thing, not making Fox happy and not making anyone happy. You got to have the team go through the steps they need to have. And as you get to be an experienced football team, you can add more games like that, which after this year, the conversation's going to end. because who we have on the schedule going forward. So this is the last time they're going to say that.
Coaches, winning, is that an expectation? It's a lot different coming into this season from last year. You feel like last year maybe State had to learn to win, or is it much different?
No, it's different. Last year I think the team felt the pressure that they needed to get it going again. You know what I mean? And but I'm not sure we knew how to get it going. We had to continue to go through the steps, the process of learning how to win tight games and learning how to be a good road team, learning how to beat an in-state team. Closing those gaps that we had to close. And we did those things. We finished with great momentum and won some big games. And I think the expectations to build off of that, and to continue to not just win but close gaps. And that's what we want to do. We want to be a better version of what we were last season.